Okay, I think today we'll take a look at a lot of the vintage robots that have a linear shuffle action for their walking mechanism. And by that, let's start with these funky ones. See this pink and this blue and this red one? They're fairly recent. And I got these big boot type feet. Basically they walk, their feet are always in contact with the surface. There's roller wheels on the bottom. In fact, maybe from the back side we can look up and I can show you that. And they're in constant contact with the surface when they walk. But what's interesting about it, gets kind of dark, I guess you can't see much that way, is benders would be another good example. The feet, of course, move back and forth. That's the shuffling action. The feet are always in contact with the surface. Ratchet wheels on the bottom lock to perform the walking action. Whereas most of the toy robots, like the police one, for example, or any of these large Robbie ones, their feet actually move in angles. So that means there's double linkage. Two linkage points at the hip, two linkage points at the feet. So when the leg is tipped forward, the foot still stays level and still stays in contact with the glass surface. Here, the feet, the legs, they're all one piece. There's no joint, no linkage. They literally just move forward and backward on a linear slide up in the body. So that's it's a very easy way to build the mechanism. There's much fewer parts. Let's go down here. No doubt I'm going to walk past a bunch. Here, these TV robots, this one and this one, those are both linear shuffle walking actions, where the feet literally just move forward and backward. Here we go down here. What was that one called? That was called Space Scout and Super Space Commander. Those are both linear shuffle. What's interesting is when they've gone to plastic, they become a little bit easier to manufacture. The top of the leg, where it goes into the body, has a flat panel that simply rides in a groove back and forth, a linear bearing, if you will. Whereas the ones that are made out of metal, the legs usually continue up as two poles which interface with two rods. And we might be able to make this more clear as we go along. Let's see. We got anybody else in here? Not in there. Let's take a look down this way. Oh, I can think of another one right offhand. It's right, Zothra. It wasn't that long ago. The all-metal wind-up Zothra robot. Same thing. The feet and the legs are all one, and they move in little metal slides that go up into the body. I think, yep, the Space Attacker, Sharpshooter Robot, Piston Robot, Sky Robot, New Sky Robot, those are all linear shuffle walking robots. See, some of these that with the same similar type looking legs would make you think they are, but inside the foot there's a separate leg piece which is on linkage, so it's not. The engine smoking robot is another linear one. Who else we got down here? Let's see. Any of these guys? No. These are all the standard mechanical walking type. And we already talked about those three there. I'm sure we're walking past some. Let's go to the next row over and take a peek. See what we can find. I should have scouted these out ahead of time, right? Yeah, what the heck. Give you guys something to look at. We got... what do we got going here? Looks like we've got some here. Looks like the Ranger robot and the Space Fighter. Those are all linear shuffle walking robots. It's just easier to manufacture. Now here would be an example. You can see this shiny metal foot part underneath the gold plastic. See, this looks like it might be a linear shuffle walker, but it's just a shuffle walker. There's actual linkage here and here. You can see the 2 pins, and then there's a pin on the inside that you can't see. So there's double linkage points, so that when this leg is tipping and moving forward and backward, the bottom will always stay level. More complicated, more parts. Whereas now you can see, starting with this red one, it's a linear shuffle. The white one's linear shuffle. And trying to see underneath that one. Linear shuffle, linear shuffle, linear shuffle. Much simpler to build. Again, the Lion robot, linear shuffle. What else we got here? So this would be an example of one that looks like it could be linear shuffle, but when you look underneath, you see that little black part right down in there? That's an inside foot that has the double linkage. So that's not linear shuffle. That's just a shuffle robot with a dual linkage. These are all shuffle robots, but they all have the dual linkage, much more involved. My robots, no. Here we go. Get into the excavators. Those are all linear shuffle type mechanisms where the feet move linearly back and forth. No doubt above and below everywhere where I'm not looking there's more. But let's take a hike around the corner here, see what we can see. So over on this side, none are jumping out at me right away here. No. I think the super red and super blue fighters are a type of linear shuffle. I do believe the posts, yeah, just move forward and backward. So yes, those are. What else we got in here? Oh, I know we got some coming up down here that are. We get into our lambdas. Got your lambdas 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. These guys with the squatty little legs, those are all linear shuffle. Even the one with a little bump and go is hidden between their feet. The feet still move in a linear shuffle action, even though the bump and go drives them. So you can see it's widely used because it's so simple to make. It's actually sturdier. There's less mechanical, total parts count is lower, less parts for kids to bend and break. And oh, here we go. Attacking robot. Linear shuffle. What else we got in here? Well, I guess we all know that I probably missed half a dozen of them, but that was a whole bunch of them that were all linear shuffle. And like I said, I'm sure there were plenty more. But I thought I'd hit a few of those vintage ones and ones that were fairly recent that were that way. You know, the most recent that we covered would have been the Zothra, would have been clear on the other side of this glass thing, clear over there. Where we had the benders. There's little pink guys. I think those are probably some of the most recent ones that were linear shuffle. So you can see how on a normal one, how the legs angle forward and backward, so they have to have the dual linkage design in order to keep the foots flat on the surface. Requires a lot more parts. pins, hinges, more complicated, more delicate. I think that's all we're going to cover in this little video. All right.